Hey everybody, it's time for T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt on the tube. How's everybody doing? Late upload, but this is Married to Medicine. I was tired yesterday and had a lot of running around to do, and I also didn't get to watch the whole episode. Yeah, I took my nails off, you guys. I took them off and cut them down because, boy, the claws was killing me. But yeah, I said I'm gonna start over or whatever, let my nails breathe for a little bit and then grow them back out. They grow fast, so I'm not worried about them cutting down and being short and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't get to watch all of Married to Medicine last night because I fell asleep kind of early. So I watched it today and pretty much, jotted down my notes so I have everything. I also have to do Mental Health Monday. Still didn't forget about that. That's going to be a late upload too. But whatever. Is here. Let's get into it. Season 7, episode, what is it, 3? Episode 3 already? Yeah. Okay, so it continued from Quad and Simone, and that talk with Simone did not even, the talk with Quad, it didn't go or whatever. Again, Simone walked away and Quad feels like Simone is not owning her stuff, and Simone feels like it was a waste of time, so she's telling Cecil about the meetup and she expected to clear the air. Now my thing is, you can't clear the air with a person that's still harboring resentment from a year or so ago. And what Quad fails to realize is that Simone came at her the way that she did last year at the crab boil because she was very closed off and would not tell anybody what was going on with her. Now, how do you expect for your friends to be there for you if you're not letting them know, hey guys, I need you guys to be here for me. I need you to love on me. She wasn't letting them know anything. Every time they asked her anything about her marriage, she's like, we're good. Or, it just is what it is. And it's not until they have to like poke her, pull teeth to get it out of her. So how could you be upset because Simone came at you the way that she did? Because you give off, Quad does give off this attitude like, I'm better than you guys and da-da-da-da, like she does. You can't be mad because Simone feels like you feel like you're better than the group, because sometimes that's how she acts. She arrives to every event that they have, she's always late to. And when she comes late, it's not like she has actual reasons as to why she's late. She's just, I'm late because I'm late. That's not fair to the group, especially if they come early for you and they'll switch around their schedules, take off all kinds of things for you to accommodate you. So that's not fair. So I get why Simone walked away and was upset. Quad still being upset about what happened at the crab boil is ridiculous because they talked it out, hashed it out and all of that, and it was supposed to be, all is forgiven, let's move on. And a whole bunch of other stuff has transpired ever since the crab boil. So why is that the main thing that's pissing you off? Like, really? So now we get to Mariah, Toya, and Lake, and they're discussing the tea party. And Toya pretty much feels like it was, the tea party was another opportunity for people to skirt around the issues, not really say what they feel, but, kind of say it, but say it in a way where they don't really hurt anybody's feelings. So she kind of feels like nothing really got resolved. It was like the beginning of getting through the issues or whatever. So Mariah's just like, she wants Jackie to own up to what she said or whatever. And the comment bothered her, but she wants Jackie to own up to what she said and own up to bringing up the situation because it wasn't appropriate for her to bring up. So Toya just wants the group to be cordial. She's like, at this point, I don't care if we're ever friends because, me and Contessa, we have our quarrels or whatever because she called my husband out his name. And she's like, I know if I would have went back and forth with her, at Heavenly's event, it would have been something bigger than it was, and I didn't want it to be that. But we do need to get back to a place where we're cordial, where we can say hi and bye and keep it moving. So now we get to Jackie and Simone. And Jackie is feeling like she's in the middle with the whole situation with Simone. She feels like she misses them being a threesome because they took, I think last season, they took a trip to Miami, to Heavenly's hometown, and went to go visit her childhood house, and they pretty much bonded, and it was the three of them, so that, you know, they had fun. But now that Simone and Heavenly are at odds, Jackie feels like she's in the middle, and Simone is like, you know, I'm not putting you in the middle. I haven't called you and spoke to you about it. I haven't said anything. I'll deal with Heavenly when I deal with Heavenly. I just feel like she broke the girl code. If I'm confiding in you something that frustrates me about my husband, why would you go out and publicly tell the internet? So Jackie's just like, I miss the three of us. I miss our friendship. I miss the fun we had, or whatever. And Simone doesn't feel like Jackie is taking her side, but she feels like Jackie wants her to apologize for the situation or whatever, or she pretty much wants Simone to not forgive Heavenly, but it's like she wants Simone to be the bigger person in a sense. And Simone is like, you know for a fact that if Heavenly did something like that to you, you would not forgive her as easy. And she's like, I'll tell you what, I'll forgive Heavenly if you and Mariah sit and y'all forgive each other. And Jackie was like, listen, we could put it together and we could have a foursome. We could meet up and hash this stuff out. So that's what they agreed that they were going to do. So now we get to Contessa and Heavenly. And, you know, Contessa, they're at Contessa's house, and Contessa's kids are playing chess. And, you know, Heavenly is like, you know, I was the captain of the chess team. And then Contessa's like, oh boy, if you hear Heavenly talk about herself, she was the best at everything. Heavenly was like, I was the captain of the debate team. I was a cheerleader. I was the captain of aquatics. I was the captain of of the mathletes. I was the captain of this. I was the captain of that. I did this. I was the teacher. I was the superintendent. I was the guidance counselor. I was the science teacher. I was, you know, the chancellor. Contessa was like, you know what, one thing about this group, you don't have to have no receipts to prove that you did what you say you did. But hey. And I'm like, yeah. So Contessa discusses the fallout between her and Scott about her being in school and pretty much neglecting the house. So Heavenly tells Contessa that their marriage comes first. Like, as a woman, you signed up to be a wife, so that means that the kids are supposed to be with you because you're a natural nurturer, and the kids are supposed to be with you. They're not supposed to be with him. I disagree. Contessa going to Nashville to do schooling, fine. I don't feel like Contessa should have took the kids out of school, because nobody knows when she started school exactly. College schedules are different from public school schedules. So nobody knows when she started school exactly. So you're going to uproot your kids to take them to another state for a year because you're going to school, and you have to go through paperwork and all kinds of things, switching stuff, documents for the kids. So it's like, how could Contessa go to school in Nashville and take her kids with her? Like, it makes no sense. And from what it seems like, her and Scott had a discussion about how it would go, like their scheduling. It seemed like they worked that part out. The only thing that's an issue with Contessa and Scott is communication. Contessa is not communicating with Scott the way that she's supposed to. I.e., the last episode when she was coming home and she bought food and he cooked. That was a miscommunication. She didn't call him. She called her dad when she got off the plane. So that's pretty much it. But for Heavenly to say, oh, you should have took the kids with you, or the kids should be with you, he should not be with the kids. I don't agree with that. And Heavenly is this modern, traditional, whatever wife. And it's like, it's 2019. That's not how it works anymore. Now it's a 2-income household. Most of the time it's a 1-income household because it's a single parent. So yeah, Heavenly, it may work for you because you live in the 1940s, but this is 2019. Okay? Just saying. So she's telling Contessa, well, you knew better. You signed up to be a wife and blah, blah, blah. You know, take care of the marriage. And Contessa is like, I know for a fact, Heavenly, you don't just sit in the house all day while your husband works, because you work too, or whatever. So you not really practicing what you preach right now. I'm like, hello. So, because Contessa just feels bad. She feels like she's a bad mom, and that she's trying to do everything possible to get everything done for her family, but she just feels like she's dropping the ball as far as her kids go, which, mommy guilt, we all go through it. So now we get to Eugene and Toya, and they're with the kids. Toya's helping them with the homework. Her and Eugene go outside to take out the trash, and they start discussing the kids' behavior. So when they were discussing the behavior, they were saying that I think Avery got slick out his mouth with his teacher, and Ashton did as well. And they feel like it's their responsibility because it's my mother in the background. They feel like it's their responsibility because she told them about the pregnancy, and then, you know, weeks later the baby was gone. So they feel like the fact that the miscarriage happened and they told the kids about it, that's the reason why they're acting out. So they all go and they sit and they discuss it. And, you know, they ask the kids, how do you feel about it? Like, are you okay? So, you know, Ashton says, well, you know, I'm a little bit okay. And Avery is like, no, I'm very mad. And they're like, why are you mad? He's like, because the baby died. You know, and Ashton is like, well, let's not say it that way. And, you know, Eugene is like, well, let's just say it this way. The baby couldn't hold on, you know, longer than it would have, because it starts out as a tiny little cell, and then it grows from 2 to 4 to 8. So, you know, Ashton is like, well, we have cells. And he's like, yeah, there's cells all over their body. So Eugene is like, let's just take this time to use it, like, to be scientific, so that they know how they know how reproduction works or whatever. So they're like, you know, if ever you feel any way about this situation, come and talk to us. You know, we're here for you to talk to. So the kids are worried about, you know, it being brought up and them crying about it. So Toya and Eugene are letting them know, hey, it's okay to cry about the situation if it bothers you, because when you cry about it, you'll get to a point in life where you won't cry about it no more, where it won't hurt as much. But, you know, right now we're here for you. If you want to discuss it. It's perfectly fine. So I thought that this discussion was, like, really, really good, because I feel like Toya and Eugene were so hell-bent on hiding how the miscarriage made them feel. They forgot that their children emotionally were invested in it too. Like, it wasn't just them. Like, the loss hit everybody. So after the kids, you know, run along, Toya just pretty much regrets announcing the pregnancy so early, and she tells Eugene about her visit with Simone and about how she was excited to have a baby, and to then hear that she no longer was pregnant. You know, it did impact her a bit. So Eugene is like, well, the best way for us to get over this, we just need time. We need time to get stuff back to normal. You know, we just need time or whatever. So, which I think is really good. And I think, and you know, that's usually why they say when you're early in your pregnancy, like because usually it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for you to find out how far along you are in your pregnancy. They usually say you're supposed to wait past 3 months to tell people that you're pregnant. That's what I did with my son. I waited until I was I think I was like 13 weeks when I announced that I was pregnant. I just didn't announce what he was, because I had like a gender reveal baby shower. But with my daughter, I think I was about 5 months. Like 5 months when I announced it to everybody. Like, certain family members knew, but I announced it to everybody when I was like 5 months, because at the time when I was pregnant with her, I didn't feel like dealing with nobody. I just wanted to be in my own little cocoon, dealing with the pregnancy, and that was it. Only certain people knew, and that's the best way to do it. Like, don't tell people so early on, because it's a lot of bad negative energy that you don't want. And plus, you're very fragile. You're very fragile during pregnancy, but your first trimester is the most fragile. So I get why Toya feels guilty, but it's nothing to feel guilty about. Like, a miscarriage is something that is out of your control. You cannot control that. It just is what it is. So now we get to Simone and the boys, and they're having a family dinner, and then Simone is like, well, you know, after dinner, you know, we need to have family time. She really wants to have a family meeting. So she wants to talk to them about help around the house and family rules, and she's like, I need y'all to take out the trash. And they're like, oh, you work so much that you can't take the trash out. So she's like, I live in a house with men. I shouldn't be the one taking out the trash all the time. I'm like, yeah, bingo. Everybody should pull their weight around the house. You do live with 3 men, 4 if you include the dog, but the dog can only do so much. So, they were saying the trash. She was saying that their rooms need to be clean. And she was saying rubbers because she found rubbers in Michael's room or whatever, and pretty much saying that they were out on display for decoration and whatnot. So Cecil is like, you know, all jokes aside, we do need to get better at these things. We do need to get better at keeping the house clean and helping mom around the house or whatever. So then they flipped the script and was like, all right, we got rules for you. And Simone is like, that's not how this works. They're like, no, it's a family meeting. So the boys feel like Simone punishes them for stuff that they already do, but she just doesn't see. So they want her to acknowledge the things that they do. And she's like, I'll acknowledge y'all when I see it. And they're like, but you always yell at us to clean our room, and you don't even know if we clean our room. She's like, I go in your room every day, all day, and it is never clean. So pretty much they want acknowledgement. They also feel like Simone yells, which Simone admits that she yells and she has a big mouth. So they were like, could you talk to us and not at us? She's like, well, if I repeated myself 5 times already, by the 6th time, it's time for me to get loud because clearly y'all not hearing me. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I think that's all moms, because I'm the same way with my kids. I don't like repeating myself more than 3 times. I don't. If I gotta repeat myself 3 times, by the 3rd time, you gonna get the wrath. You ain't gonna get normal voice. You gonna get yelled at. So I get it. But Simone is loud all the time. Jeez. So now we get to Heavenly and Laura. And this was a cute little funny scene right here. You know, they're organizing Heavenly's closet. And they're just discussing, you know, typical puberty, teenage stuff. And Alora is so uncomfortable with Heavenly, and it is hilarious. So again, remember how I said before? Alora is the one that be humbling the hell out of Heavenly. She humbled the hell out of her right here. And she was like, at 13, I didn't have a boyfriend, and I didn't like boys. And Alora was like, well, at 13, I'm a lot cuter than you were at 13. I was like, oh snap. She just came for your life. And it's like Heavenly can't do nothing but eat it. She can't do nothing but eat what that girl be saying to her. So, now she's asking Alora about sex, and Alora is like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not doing it or whatever. And, you know, Heavenly's like, you know, you'll start dating in about 5 or 6 years. And, you know, I want you to be ready. And Alora's like, you want me to start dating at 18? And she's like, well, yeah. She's like, mommy. So, Dr. Damon comes and, you know, they're debating on when Alora should date. And he's like, I want you to date at 30. You know, you my baby. I'm protective of you or whatever. So Alora leaves, and they're both, you know, pretty much sad about the fact that Alora and their other child, Zach, is, you know, growing up. He graduated and he's in college, and Alora's about to be in high school. So they're just missing their babies at this point. You know, Dr. Damon is like, you know, Laura used to go with me to the movies every week. She doesn't do that with me anymore. So Heavenly is like, well, why don't we go to the movies together? You know, why don't we spend some time together, whatever. So it was a cutesy little scene. Now we get to Quad and Jackie, and Quad cooked up dinner and whatnot. And, you know, Quad was chefing it up, and whatever she was making looked good. And you know, Dr. Jackie is like, oh, you know, this corn, they have it pre-packaged already. And Quad is like, but if I would have bought it pre-packaged, it wouldn't have Quad's touch. So Quad is like, listen, Jackie, you push babies, you deliver babies for a living. I cook. Let me do me. I ain't gonna tell you how to do your job. I'm like, okay. So Quad and Jackie discussed the talk with Simone. And Quad brought up the reason why the crab boil bothered her. And Jackie pretty much feels like she needs to let it go because it's old. And Quad is like, she doesn't feel like Simone ever owned up to her stuff, like the part she played in the whole crab boil thing. And Jackie is like, well, when do you let it go? And she's like, when Simone takes accountability and apologizes to me and admit that she was wrong, then I'll let it go. Until then, I can't. So Jackie is like, well, let's not talk about Simone. Let's talk about you. What did you do wrong in that situation that you feel is the reason Simone came at you? And Quad is like, I didn't do anything wrong. You know, I poured my heart out and Simone just attacked me. And I'm like, that's not how it went. That's not, you shut your friends out. Like, they had to beg you to talk to them. That's not how it went. Don't try and make it one-sided. Like, Quad always trying to make stuff like she the victim child. So Quad was like, no, I really would have wanted Simone in my corner when I was going through what I was going through. But you shut her out. So how would you want somebody in your corner that you shut out? Make it make sense. So she said that she wants to receive Simone and she wants the friendship to be better, but she won't receive it unless Simone admits her faults and apologizes. And I'm like, okay. So now we get to the whole foursome thing with Mariah, Simone, Jackie, and Heavenly. So Mariah and Simone are catching up and they're talking. Oh my God, so much Jesus. I be trying not to on camera, and this is just, it come out because I'm talking. So they're catching up, having their little girl time, and you know, Simone is discussing the talk with Jackie about her and Heavenly, and you know, bringing up she brought up that her and Jackie decided to bring Heavenly and Mariah together. So Mariah is like, not really caring too much about it. But Heavenly and Jackie arrive and they orchestrated to like kind of sort of ambush them to make them talk or whatever. So when they walk in, Jackie is like, oh, you know, I got something to tell you. You know, Mariah is here. So Heavenly looks at her like, you know, you're a shady bitch, right? I was like, oh my God. So they go and they sit down and it's like awkward tension. And Mariah brought up the podcast to Jackie and she said she feels like Jackie is one-sided. Jackie always tells one side of the story as opposed to looking at both sides and fact-checking, which Jackie does do. So Jackie is like, well, I feel like you don't talk to me, you talk at me. For you to say that my slip was showing, I honestly didn't know what you meant by that. And she's like, well, I pretty much just meant that I see your true colors. I see you for who you are or whatever. And Jackie is like, not once do I want you to feel that I was offending you in any kind of way. I apologize for hurting your feelings and bringing it up. I sincerely apologize. Mariah receives it. So Simone is now expressing her hurt from Heavenly. And Heavenly feels like Simone is pretty much lying. Like, no, this is not how it went down. You know, your husband said what he said and I reacted or whatever. So Heavenly is like, I have a right to come at Cecil because he came at me and I didn't say anything to him and he inserted himself into our problems. And you know, Simone is pretty much like, well, he wouldn't have inserted himself into your problems had you not said anything about him. So they're pretty much going back and forth. And Mariah is telling Simone to get out of her feelings. Heavenly is like, well, you can't compare husbands because Damon would never come at you like that. Damon is not like that. So Jackie still feels caught in the middle. So then they finally swap seats and then they talk about it. And they apologize to each other and they promise that they're not going to hit below the belt anymore. And, you know, as they leave, they each feel excited about the progress. So Mariah is like, you know, I hope we leave here with the same mindset or whatever. You know, I hope we leave here with the same energy, and when we get back together, it'll be the same thing when we get together. And then they laugh it off because we all know that ain't, because they had a kumbaya moment right now, it ain't gonna last long for long. But it pretty much ended there, and that was episode 3 of season 7 of Married to Medicine. Y'all let me know how y'all like this episode. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you oh so much for watching. And remember to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend about T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt, T-shirt, T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt, T-shirt, T-shirt on the tube. T-shirt, T-shirt, T-shirt on the tube. Ooh, bye. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Later.